This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rule. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, a $2.6 million contract signed today in the nation's capital for a master plan and architectural drawing for a new community clinic here on this island. The new facility is expected to reduce the load at the Rand Memorial Hospital in Freeport. The contract entered into with the Beck Group does not include the cost of construction. Groundbreaking for the new Grand Bahama Community Clinic will take place in September. Company officials and Minister for Grand Bahama Dr. Michael Darville was in attendance. Minister Darville noting that the new facility strengthens resources in preparation for NHI. The Beck Group was also responsible for the design and the planning of PMH's critical care block. Beck will also facilitate a plan for a refurbished Princess Margaret Hospital. In other news, Grand Bahama Clico policyholders will begin receiving interim payments of outstanding claims as of Monday of next week, and that's according to a notice signed by the Clico liquidator. The interim payments do not apply to those with active in-force insurance and pension policies, as insurance and pension policies currently in force will continue to receive policy benefits under the terms of their policies. Now, the payout comes 2 weeks after Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, disclosed that relief was on the way for policyholders. The Prime Minister, during his midterm budget statement in Parliament, said that the payout could total around $16 million. Clico went into liquidation back in 2008, leaving thousands of policyholders in limbo. It is understood that this long-awaited payment will impact some 4,000 persons throughout the country. Switching gears now, the search was called off last night for a Freeport man who fell from a vessel in waters off Grand Key. Tonight, an executive with Basra is weighing in on the situation and the protocols involved in safe boating. Justin Snisky of the Bahamas Air Sea Rescue Association, or Basra, says the incident that occurred in Grand Key is one that is all too familiar. He says such tragic incidents can often be linked to the absence of an emergency plan.
Safety has to be a priority, especially when alcohol is involved. You have a lot of people that aren't familiar with boating, that this is their one time a year that they want to get out and they just want to be a part of it, and they want to get in that group. And safety has to be a priority. That's the number one fact. Life preservers, flotation devices, life rings on board. Just something that in the event that somebody does go overboard, you could just toss them a line, toss them a life ring, toss them a life jacket.
He says if one is to find themselves in a situation where a man goes overboard, time is of the utmost importance.
And the time that the person did go overboard, the time that the vessel captain is notified, to the time that vessel is stopped, forward progress is no longer, and they can get back to that location, to the area.
Unconfirmed reports say there was some confusion as to whether or not there was actually a man overboard, and it reportedly took several minutes for the announcement to be made.
Anytime that anybody ever reports a man overboard, it is imperative. It doesn't matter if you're on a cruise ship. If somebody reports a man overboard on a cruise ship, that cruise is automatically stopped. Doesn't matter where they're going, how important they are, the VIPs, whoever. That cruise is automatically stopped and a rescue mission is launched. In the same situation, it doesn't have to be a cruise, it doesn't have to be a barge, it doesn't have to be a personal watercraft. Anytime, anywhere in the oceans, you gotta respect nature. The ocean out there is very powerful. It could be a phenomenal asset out there to go have a wonderful time, but it could also be very deadly.
He says Basra received a call 24 hours after the incident occurred. However, other agencies were involved in the search and rescue.
We understand that the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the Royal Bahamas Marine Division were contacted, and they were a part of the search and rescue efforts going on. We wish we would have. I mean, we have assets available. We have airplanes. I mean, we have vessels. Again, as soon as something like this happens, you need to get as many people, as many contacts, as many boats that you can get out on scene.
The search for the newspaper vendor was called off 48 hours after he fell overboard. Snisky explains why.
This particular case being out there between cuts of keys and all that, it makes it very difficult as time goes on. The search pattern becomes too great, and the assets and the the manpower that you would need is just not available.
A busy day for the Magistrate's Court in Freeport today as several suspects were charged with a number of serious charges. Among them, 2 females. Joan Davis Roll reports.
Persons charged in connection with a number of crimes here on Grand Bahama as they're hauled before the courts. Residents braved the inclement weather to be on hand for the arrival of a number of suspects set to have their day in court Wednesday morning. An unmarked police vehicle pulled up shortly before 10 a.m. with 2 female suspects. Among them, a female who police recently issued an all-points bulletin for as she was initially wanted in connection with murder. 46-year-old Doreen Valerie Paula Frobisher Drive, Freeport, dressed in a black, red, and blue sports jacket, a two-tone shirt, and a dark pair of pants. She arrived handcuffed to another suspect, Cassanelle Oliver. Both females appeared in the Freeport Magistrate Court number 2 before Magistrate Charlton Smith and charged with obstruction of justice. Paul and 28-year-old Oliver Frobisher Circle, Freeport, pleaded not guilty to the charge, and the matter was adjourned to Thursday at 11 a.m. for review. From Court 1 we moved to Court 3, where a male resident of New Providence appeared before Magistrate Rengen Johnson on a number of serious charges. Omar Miller, wearing a white t-shirt, jeans, and tennis shoes, was charged Wednesday with attempted murder, 2 counts of armed robbery, burglary, and possession of unlicensed firearm. Police reports say the charges stem from March 23rd, just before 10 p.m., when officers were called to a home on Ludford Drive, Freeport, where 3 masked men, armed with a firearm, entered the home and robbed a male of cash and a black truck. Officers spotted the stolen truck in the Midshipman Road area. A chase ensued, and one of the suspects was shot in the arm by police. 2 other assailants were apprehended at the scene. Miller was not required to enter a plea. A preliminary inquiry will be held on June 20th and 22nd and June 27th to 28th of this year. Miller was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Meanwhile, Rasmere and Brewster, 26 of 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama, appeared before Magistrate Charlton Smith. He was charged with possession of a forged document. He pleaded not guilty, and the matter was adjourned to June 16th of this year. He was granted bail in the amount of $2,500 with 1 surety. Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Meanwhile, police have released the identity of the young man who was killed in a car crash on East Sunrise Highway Monday morning. He is 23-year-old Onan Sidney Curry of Independence Drive Heritage Subdivision. Curry was the front seat passenger in a 2004 Chevy Malibu when it slammed into a concrete utility pole near St. Paul's Methodist Church. He died a short time later in hospital. Now, the driver of that vehicle is still detained in serious condition. A female passenger is hospitalized in stable condition. With us, there's more news right after this.